Into this admirable and divine order of revelation, the Most High introduced Most Holy Mary, so that she might enjoy these privileges which the courtiers of heaven possessed as becoming their nature. For this purpose he appointed the seraphim, whom I have mentioned in the 14th chapter of the first book, because they were supreme and nearest to the divinity. Also other angels of Mary's guard performed the same office, whenever, according to the divine will, it seemed befitting and necessary. The Queen of angels and men knew all these angels and others as they are in themselves, without dependence upon the senses or the fantasy, and without any hindrance from the mortal or earthly body. Through this vision and knowledge, the seraphim and other angels of the Lord illuminated and purified her, revealing to their queen many mysteries which, for that very purpose, they had learned from the Most High. And although this kind of illumination and intellectual vision was not continual in Most Holy Mary, it was very frequent, especially when, in order to give her opportunity for more merits and divine movements of love, the Lord hid or absented himself from her, as shall be described afterwards. On such occasions, he made use of the mediation of the angels, allowing their enlightenment to proceed in its order until it was communicated to their queen. This mode of illumination did not derogate from the dignity of the Mother of God and of the Mistress of the Angels. For in the conferring of these benefits, the mode of their participation was not to be determined by the dignity and sanctity of our sovereign Queen, since in that she was superior to all the angelic orders, but it was determined by the present state and condition of her nature, in which she was inferior. For she was yet a wayfarer and of a human bodily and mortal nature. By these illuminations, she was to be raised to the angelic operation and estate, though yet living in mortal flesh and subject to the natural use of the senses, and it was a great privilege, yet entirely proper to her sanctity and dignity. I believe that the hand of the Most High has extended this favor to other souls in mortal life, although not so frequently as to his most holy mother, nor with such a plenitude and under such exalted conditions as in her. If many doctors, not without good reason, conceded that St. Paul, Moses, and other saints have enjoyed beatific vision, it is credible that other earthly wayfarers have shared this kind of knowledge of the angelic nature. For this favor is no more than to see intuitively the angelic substance. In regard to clearness, this vision corresponds to the one which I have first mentioned in the foregoing chapter, and in regard to the intellectual qualities it corresponds to the third mentioned in the same place, although it does not proceed by means of imprinted images. The truth is, this privilege is not ordinary or common, but very rare and extraordinary, and therefore it demands in the soul a great preparation and purity of conscience. It is incompatible with earthly affections, voluntary imperfections, or any leaning toward sin, for in order that the soul may enter into the angelic order, it must lead a life more angelic than human, since, if this supernal assimilation and sympathy is wanting, the union of such extremes would imply a monstrous disproportion. With the divine grace, however, the creature, although yet an earthly and corruptible body, can deny itself all that is demanded by its passions and inclinations, die to all visible things, eject from its memory all images of them, and live more in the spirit than in the flesh. And when it arrives at the enjoyment of true peace, tranquility, and quiet of spirit, which cause in it a sweet and loving serenity in the possession of the highest good, then it is less incapable of being raised to the vision of the angelic spirits by intuitive clearness, of receiving the divine revelations which they communicate to each other, and of experiencing the admirable effects of this kind of vision. If those which our sovereign Queen received correspond to her purity and love, Their value cannot be estimated by men. The light communicated to her in these visions of the seraphim is beyond human comparison. For to a certain extent, the image of the divinity is flashed from them, as from most pure spiritual mirrors, in which most holy Mary perceived it in all its infinite attributes and perfections. Also, the glory which the seraphim themselves enjoyed was manifested to her in an admirable manner by some of its effects. For as she saw intuitively the essence of the angels, she knew much of its secrets. By the insight into these things, she was entirely inflamed and enkindled with divine love, and many times wrapped in wonderful ecstasy. Hence, in union with the seraphim and the angels, she broke forth in canticles of praise, celebrating the incomparable glory of the divinity, so that she excited the admiration of the heavenly spirits themselves. For though she was enlightened by them as regards the intellect, yet, by her own acts of the will, she left them far behind, and with a much greater force of love did she quickly ascend and arrive at union with the ultimate and the highest good, whence she immediately received new impulses of the torrents of the divinity by which she was inundated. And if the seraphim had not been enjoying the presence of the infinite object, which was the beginning and the end of their beatific love, they might well have been the pupils of their most holy Queen in divine love, just as she was theirs in regard to the illumination of the mind derived from them.